Hey guys, Matt LaRosier here with Firearms Policy Coalition, bringing you another weekly update, just to make sure that you have all of the latest information on everything affecting your right to keep and bear arms. Let's get straight into it. First up, the LA Times released a very misleading article about gun control and mass shootings. Now, first off, we've talked about this before. Mass shootings are thankfully incredibly rare. They're black swan type events, and the chance of you dying in one between 1966 and now is about 1 in 11 point something million. Okay, so this is not an epidemic. It is not a huge problem that needs an immediate response. However, this journalist or whatever with the LA Times, in response to the shooting at the Chorus Company in Milwaukee, decided to write an article that basically he made a bunch of graphs that said, you know, these were mass shootings we've selected between the 66 and now, and these are the ones that have factors related to gun control laws that he selected. And those were assault weapon bans, red flag laws, universal background checks, safe storage requirements, and there was one other. But anyway, he put a little sentence that said, of course, there's no way to know for sure that these would have worked 100%, but then basically proceeds to say that, oh, this one would have saved this many lives. And they wrote that red flag laws would have prevented 85% of these shootings. If you just take a look at the article, it's linked in the full write-up we've got in firearmspolicy.org, and you know, in the T-tag post and everything. But it's just such awful misdirection. First of all, the graphs assume 100% efficacy of these gun laws. In real life, in the criminal law context, 10% efficacy would be shockingly effective. All right, so there's one thing. Second off, interestingly, they said that an assault weapon ban would have prevented 6 mass shootings that happened during the federal assault weapon ban. So that's funny. It's just interesting. And you know, these things get shared and cited for a long time. It's hard to deal with these things. Look, if the facts are on your side, you don't have to lie and mislead people like this. And it's just sad to see that people are so obsessed with guns. I have such a fixation with guns that they have to make everything about gun control instead of discussing actual problems, actual things that we can make a difference in to improve people's lives. So to check it out or don't, there it is. Also this week in New Mexico, the governor signed into law the Extreme Risk Firearm Order Protection Act. It's another red flag law. Basically, this is more of the same thing. There's one interesting thing, and it's that it says that law enforcement is required to make your firearms available, you know, once you're eligible to have firearms again within 30 days of a written request. I don't understand what takes that long. However, it is interesting to see them actually putting in a mechanism to require your firearms be made available to you. That said, it's still bad policy. That little adjustment doesn't really save the huge due process violations that come as a result. And last week, the governor of Kentucky signed a new law requiring that school resource officers be armed, whereas previously they were not. Now, you know, I don't want to get too deep into this because, like we said before, these types of crimes that this is aimed at are very rare. That said, if there is going to be a risk of a bad actor, right, one good guy with a gun is better than 0. That said, there are many more solutions, better solutions, and also there are problems when you increase police presence at school. Things like youthful indiscretion, you know, fights, stuff like that are best handled by school administrators. When you get police involved, tend to worsen the school to prison pipeline and ruin young lives. That said, again, soft targets are a problem. When you mandate that nobody have a gun, you need, you know, as the government, you need to take responsibility and provide protection. Of course, I think that it's wrong to create gun-free zones, but going from 0 to 1 or whatever is probably an improvement. At the Idaho State House this week, an 11-year-old girl joined her grandfather to show support for a law that would recognize the right of out-of-staters to carry while in the state of Idaho. Now, of course, that's a great cause. I think that we should recognize the right of all human beings to carry pretty much anywhere. There was one detail, though. The 11-year-old was carrying an AR-15 or AR pattern rifle, so that caused a bit of a splash. I'd prefer to see an AK-74, but there it was. That's it for this week, guys. As always, check out firearmspolicy.org. You can check out the merch shop. We've got all kinds of cool shirts on there, and it helps support us. And you can read about everything we talked about here, plus more, on our website. Go to fpcnews.org, or you can go to firearmspolicy.org, click on the news tab. You'll find a write-up of everything we talked about with links. You may also find it in the description, be able to just check it out if you want to read a little more. But until next time, guys, keep your eyes on Firearms Policy Coalition. We're keeping up the fight for all of your rights all the time. I've been Matt LaRosiere, and I'll see you real soon.